Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day is going great. We got a morning video here covering 2 days of Overwatch League action. It's going to be a long one, but also going to be a fun one. We got some games to cover, and we definitely got the standings to go over. So let's just hop straight into it, guys. Starting off with the first game of Thursday, we had the Washington Justice go up against the Philadelphia Fusion. And as I predicted, Washington Justice did look really good in this set, and it was close. We even almost saw map 5, but unfortunately, Washington Justice just let it slip on a few maps. They had the edge on Hollywood, but they couldn't close it out, and then the same thing happened on Route 66. Their first hold almost came through, but Philadelphia Fusion did clutch out on that last fight, pushing all the way through the payload and allowing them to take the victory 3-1. This was a close match, and Washington Justice does look like a good team. It's so unfortunate that they've had to face such hard competition coming into Overwatch League, but we did say this. I've been saying it all offseason ever since the schedule was released. Washington Justice will be decent, but they will be the worst team in the league based off their schedule alone. And it's not going to get any easier for them, guys, because guess what? They have the San Francisco Shock coming up tonight. That will be a tough one. Let's go ahead and move on now to the second set of Thursday, which was honestly a really big shock to me. The Boston Uprising taking out the Seoul Dynasty 3-1. I figured it would be somewhat of a close set, but Seoul Dynasty would take it away during the fourth map, but I was completely wrong. Fusions is such a big, crucial part of this Boston Uprising team, and Colorhex played decent. He did. I have to give him credit. He didn't play amazing or anything, but he was definitely doing his job. He didn't look like Birdring or Effect out there. I still do think Axiom overall looked better on that Zarya, but Boston Uprising, the synergy between No, Fusions, Kellex, they're playing so good. The aggression, the speed boost, the boops, everything about their play is really good, and it's all based off teamwork and synergy. Boston Uprising, they were a sleeper pick. I had a feeling they would be decent, but they might be really good, and they might have a chance to slip into the overall top 8 and make the Stage 1 playoffs. And now let's talk a little bit about Seoul Dynasty, because I was very frustrated watching this match because of them. Now, Boston Uprising, they're good. They played great. They deserve the win. I don't want to take anything away from them, but Jesus Christ, Seoul Dynasty, they looked awful. Their shot calling was horrendous during this set, guys. Why on earth was Jaehong popping his Transcendence before Grav every single team fight? It's like you're playing GOATs. You're a professional Overwatch League team. You know how to track ults. You know when Colorhex is going to have Grav. So why on earth did they aggress with Transcendence every single team fight and then just all of a sudden get 6-man grabbed and all die and just sit there being confused as to what's going on, but then you repeatedly do it over and over and over? I don't know what's going on with the shot calling for Seoul Dynasty. They have Fisher, who comes over from the LA Gladiators. He was supposedly one of the better shot callers on that team, a great leader. And then Jexy, he trialed for so many Overwatch League teams, and he was regarded as one of the best shot calling and ult tracking players in all of free agency. Like 5 teams wanted him: the Defiant, the Reign, the Florida Mayhem, Washington Justice, but he went to Seoul Dynasty because he wanted to play with a full Korean team, just like Fisher. Well, guess what? Their synergy, teamwork, and communication look awful. I don't know what's going on with Seoul Dynasty. It really does look like a repeat of Season 1. Oh man, I'm so frustrated with their shot calling. They need to get it together if they want to make a push for the playoffs. That was a very frustrating set to watch. Let's move on now. The next match on Thursday was the Guangzhou Charge and the Florida Mayhem. This one was weird, Guangzhou Charge, they're a good team, but they just play down to their opponents. They make it close, but when they play a good team, they also play up to their opponents like they did against the Vancouver Titans, taking them to Game 5. But then again, on the other hand, well, they went to a Game 5 with Florida Mayhem and Chengdu Hunters. Thankfully for them, they did pick up the 5th map in this set against Florida Mayhem. This was actually a really entertaining set, and Florida Mayhem isn't that bad of a team. I feel like they have the potential to be good, but right now it seems like they're just trying a little too much. I like Tavik coming in and playing the May, but they signed McGravy recently, and they're switching Zephyr out randomly, even though he's playing great on that Diva. Sure, McGravy played good as well, but then they're swapping out Tavik for Apply, and it's just all over the place. Too many players playing too many different things. I think they need to just slow down and focus on small things. It's just a GOATS meta. Run one comp, run one roster, and try to get good at it, and I think Florida Mayhem will improve. As for the Guangzhou Charge, I don't know, they have a really good team fight win rate. It just seems like they let it slip sometimes and sets randomly to bad teams. They're still a super strong team. I do think they're a top 8 team, and they will make the playoffs overall. They just got to show it a little more and stop dropping maps to teams that are probably in the bottom half of the rankings. Despite that though, Florida is still looking decent. They have the potential. Let's move on from this set. And let's talk about that final match, which was the San Francisco Shock taking on the Hangzhou Spark. This was an entertaining match. Hangzhou Spark definitely looked better than they did last week, but still nothing like they did in the first week. Not too sure what's going on with them. They picked up their first 2 matches in the Overwatch League very convincingly, and then lost the last 3 very convincingly. They were predicted by pretty much every analyst and all of the teams to be one of the best expansion teams. I mean, not even one of the best, and like a top 5 overall team, and they're just letting it slip. I know San Francisco Shock is a great opponent. Picking up this win for them is huge, and it did push them into the top 8 alongside the Guangzhou Charge, tied at rank number 7. So they are showing some really good signs. The set started off on Ilios. It was back and forth. Hangzhou Spark did end up taking it. We moved on to Hollywood. San Francisco Shock completely stomped Hangzhou Spark with a first hold, showing them who's boss. I will say, Sinatra is incredible at building up them graviton surges, so good at it, but he needs to take his time and figure out when is a good time to use it, because he gets his gravs eaten more than any other Zarya in the league that I've noticed so far. And I feel like the reason he builds them up so fast is because he's shooting them out so quickly. He needs to be more patient, and if he can pick up more 6-man gravitons rather than allowing the other team to eat it and just negate the graviton, San Francisco Shock will pick up more team fight wins. Obviously, he does incredible damage. Sinatra's a great Zarya. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. It's just a very noticeable thing, and it does lose team fights for the Shock. We moved on to the third map, which was Anubis. San Francisco Shock overwhelmingly looked like the better team here, and then Route 66, again, San Francisco Shock overwhelmingly looked like the better team, getting a first hold on the Hangzhou Spark, picking up the 3-1 victory in the set, and as I said, it did push them into the top 8 of the standings, so they are looking good for the playoffs now if they can start picking up more wins. Now let's move on to the Friday matches. These ones were absolutely insane. We started off with the LA Gladiators and the London Spitfire, and what can I say, guys? I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. After the first week when the London Spitfire were 0-2 and they looked absolutely awful, I told all of you guys, do not count them out. Yes, it was a bad week for them, but they are the champions, and they have Prophet, Gesture, Bedos, Nuss, all these great players, and Guard is fitting in perfectly, and now they look like one of the best teams in the entire league, taking down the LA Gladiators, picking up their 3rd victory in a row now. Every single game they look more and more improved. As for the LA Gladiators, they've also had a really tough schedule so far, facing off against some top tier opponents like the Paris Eternal, like the London Spitfire. And because of this, they're sitting at 1-3 overall and rank 16 right now, which is not good and basically gives them no shot at making the Stage 1 playoffs. LA Gladiators is a good team. They have really good pieces. They've just had a really tough Stage 1 schedule, and it doesn't get easier. They're going up against the Guangzhou Charge, Hangzhou Spark, and lastly the Atlanta Reign for the rest of the stage. Hangzhou Spark might be a little bit easier, but overall that's still some tough competition, and if the LA Gladiators end up losing one of these games, it's not looking good for them. They need to start picking up wins because it's just not the Stage 1 playoffs that they need to worry about. They need to worry about the overall playoffs. As I said though, this was a very close set. London Spitfire looking so much more improved, and this wasn't one of those like really sloppy sets where London barely wins off a terrible play from both teams. LA Gladiators and London Spitfire played great in this set. It was a good match and it was exciting to watch. Let's move on now to the second match of yesterday, which was Toronto Defiant taking on the New York Excelsior, and New York Excelsior continuing their dominance. They looked great starting off in the first map. Toronto Defiant did put up a fight, they picked up a round, but overall New York Excelsior, they dominated when they were winning team fights, and they just looked like the better team. It was somewhat close though. We moved on to Kings Row. Again, New York Excelsior getting a 3-2 victory. Their defense just came through clutch. They looked a little bit better than Toronto Defiant throughout the entire match. On Anubis, it was a different story though. New York Excelsior definitely looked like the stronger team there. Then moving on to the fourth and final map, Dorado actually went in favor of Toronto Defiant, which was surprising because Toronto hasn't looked very good on this map at all so far. They picked up a first hold on New York Excelsior and even pushed 3 points, which was really good and definitely a bright side for Toronto. They lost to one of the best teams in the entire league and they still looked decent. So I would say they're still sitting around that like top 10, close to top 8 area. They just need to improve a little bit more and face a little easier competition to improve their rank. Not much more to say about this set. We moved on to the next one, which was the Vancouver Titans and the LA Valiant. This was a interesting set, not because it was close, but because Vancouver Titans completely started trolling on that fourth map. I mean, literally, did you guys see Bumper? He was straight up suiciding on Rialto, just making the most aggressive plays possible. They also put Repel in there for that fourth game, and he just didn't look as good as he should have. Obviously, Bumper going super aggressive didn't help his case, though. Vancouver Titans, they did let the last map slip to the LA Valiant because they weren't trying, I'm guessing. I think think they could have easily 4-0'd that if they kept on course, and it was important to probably get that map, because you never know, if you start losing games near the end of the season, every single point matters, and that could be a rookie mistake coming back to bite Vancouver in the butt. That was it for the Vancouver match. They took it 3-1. Moving on to the fourth and final match of yesterday, we had the Shanghai Dragons taking on the Chengdu Hunters, and wow, Shanghai Dragons getting their first 4-0 victory. Now, it might not have been the cleanest. Chengdu Hunters definitely put up a fight, but they weren't able to just pick up a map here. Shanghai Dragons, near the end of it, they came out on top every single time, like on Busan, 2-1 victory. Chengdu Hunters, they picked up a round, but they couldn't pick up 2. On Nubani, Shanghai Dragons, they pushed it all the way through, whereas the Chengdu Hunters, they picked up 2 points, but couldn't get that third one like the Shanghai Dragons. Then we moved on to Volskaya, same situation. It went back and forth a few times, but at the end of the day, Shanghai Dragons were able to cap 5 times, where Chengdu was only able to cap 4, and then on the last map, Dorado, it was kind of over at this point. Shanghai definitely looked better here, and Chengdu Hunters, they lost the set 0-4, and as I said before, I think they are one of the worst teams in the league. I think they got lucky beating the Guangzhou Charge, and Shanghai Dragons, they look really good and improved. I love Gamsu in there. It's a great addition to their roster, and I'm super hyped up on him, and Shanghai Dragons actually have a chance to make the playoffs overall for Stage 1, because they faced the Dallas Fuel twice, and if they can win both of those games, they have a very good chance at making it. But it's definitely not going to be easy, because the Dallas Fuel are a really sporadic team. They could either show up and be really good, or they can show up and just be trash, and it seems to happen every other game, so the chances of the Shanghai Dragons winning both of these games back to back seems kind of low to me. I honestly feel like each team will be able to win one, and I guess since we're in the predictions now, I'll go ahead and continue it off. So I do think today Shanghai Dragons will pick up the first match against the Dallas Fuel. Well, that's going to be the last match of the day, but in the first match, we'll go back a little bit. We have Paris Eternal taking on the Atlanta Reign. This will be close, but not too close. I think Paris has the better GOATS roster, and they will be able to come out on top 3-1. Moving on to the second match, we have Florida Mayhem and Houston Outlaws. This is a random match. Honestly, either team could win, but I would put my money on Florida Mayhem just because they had a really close match with Guangzhou Charge, and they do look like they're improving, whereas the Houston Outlaws don't really look like they've improved much. They got a lucky win off a bad Hangzhou Spark. Other than that, I think Florida Mayhem's going to win 3-2. Moving on to the next match, we have San Francisco Shock and the Washington Justice. Poor Washington Justice. I've mentioned it in this video already. Their schedule is unreal, and they're just not going to be able to win this. It might be close a little bit. I think they will pick up a map, maybe Control, maybe 2 CP. You never know, but San Francisco Shock will probably win 3-1 or 3-2. That's my predictions, guys, and that is the video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to let me know down in the comments. If you like staying updated on Overwatch League daily, be sure to subscribe. Also, join the giveaway. Link will be down in the comments. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm out of here. Peace.